Most people in crypto make a bunch of mistakes. In fact, they make the key mistake of focusing on too short a time frame. This is actually the one thing in crypto that messes most people up, is focusing on short time frames instead of longer time frames. And the people who are able to zoom out and understand how crypto functions, how it ebbs and flows, are able to completely maximize their gains. But most importantly, the people who understand this are able to protect themselves from suffering the worst losses. Sadly, 99% of people in this industry completely screw this up. So this video is going to be decoding the most important lesson on time analysis that most people mess up. And if you get this right, you'll most likely be in a position to take advantage of the storybook gains, the 100x gains, the 1000x gains, and then you will avoid, most importantly, the negative 80, negative 90% losses. That's only if you're able to master this one skill. So today we're going to jump into it. This one is going to be one of the most useful episodes I can do, and we're also going to be talking about the revival of NFTs, which I have been predicting here on the channel, and it is extremely exciting to see it taking shape. It's going to present a ton of opportunities for you. Make sure to smash that like button because it shows this video to other viewers so other participants in the market can also be saved from these horrific losses. It's a good deed to spread this kind of knowledge here in crypto land. With that said, if you guys want coin picks and up-to-the-date information, make sure you're subscribed and following me on Twitter at EllioTrades, because this next section of the market is going to be one where you do not want to miss information. It's extremely time sensitive. With that said, let's dive in. Now, crypto is a game of emotions. It's you against you. Make no mistake about that, because the long-term destination for crypto of a Web3 world, a new layer on the internet where money, finance, data can be protected, creative works can be monetized in a seamless way direct to consumers. This is the world of the future. There's no doubt about that. The destination is so painfully obvious, especially with, I don't know, every single major brand in the world declaring their intention to start a metaverse, a digital world for their users, in which, of course, the products will be NFTs. Now, because we know that 8 billion people are going to come into crypto and NFTs, it's not a question of how big these networks will grow. The question is, are you going to be able to stick around and play your stack properly? Now, crypto is extremely generous. As we can see here by this ETH chart, and of course this tweet by Hornhairs is saying, I will not be bearish on crypto when ETH is giving us the most textbook high time frame retest in months. So what he's saying here is that this green area, we've broken above it, which was our prior high here, and now we're coming back to test it. Now there's something called a retest in crypto where once you break through an overhead resistance, that's what they call it, when the price doesn't quite want to go over a certain level, they call that a resistance. Once you break through resistance, the way to confirm you've broken through is to come down and test it and bounce off of it. And that's called flipping resistance into support. You can also do it the other way. It's more bearish when you break through support and flip it into resistance. So the chart works like this. Now, what you'll also notice is that we came up here, formed a top formation, and came down over 50% here. So this is what happened just in 2021. And everyone who came in with big green dollar signs in their eyes here at the top of the market got completely crushed as we came down. The people who waited and fought against their FOMO here at the top of the market and got greedy here at the bottom of the market, those people are up sitting pretty right now. So even if we nuke from here, they're doing okay. So what's the lesson here? The lesson here is that crypto is a game of emotions. And at every single step, crypto is trying to fool you, convince you to betray yourself by giving in to your own sense of greed, FOMO, or give in to your fears that effectively you're going to lose all your money. So if you're able to fight against those and buy when things seem really bearish, we've actually brought up this particular metric, the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, and every time it gets to that rock bottom lows of extreme fear, those are typically amazing, amazing buying periods. So what do we know? We know when things get really greedy that there tends to be dumps, there tends to be too much risk. This is also because people get greedy and they do what's called leverage trading, where they'll leverage their position long, and that way if the price moves against them, they get liquidated to the downside. Just know that as people get greedier, it creates more pressure to the downside. You can think of it, greed creates downwards pressure and fear creates upwards pressure. So you're really playing against emotions and counter trading these emotions. So when things get really really, really bullish, the best thing you could do, and I did tweet about this several days ago saying, hey, buying at all-time highs is the riskiest time. It does look like we're still going to head up, but you should just be aware of that. Of course, everyone rinsed me in the tweets because I'm generally very bullish, but understanding high time frame bullishness from midterm rockiness is really important. Now, I still believe the end of 2021 is going to be amazing. Now, it's important that you should understand that if you're still on the sidelines and everything's at all-time highs, it doesn't mean you should be completely out of the market. You should definitely be allocating some to the market, but you should always be waiting for those down moves, as crypto is so generous as to, even over the last few months, you can see Ethereum has crashed over 50%, and then it went up here and crashed again, probably about 20-30% here. The point here is that there's always another entry point when the whole market moves down. And so timing your big moves and your big investments into the market for down moves is the one thing that most people are physically, scientifically incapable of doing, but it's also the thing that will be the single most important driver of most people's success in the industry. So if you take your need for short-term gains and kind of put it off to the side and think, okay, how am I going to invest over the next 5 years? Well, in my opinion, gaming, metaverse, NFTs, and waiting for big bearish moves on the market. We also see here that big whales have been buying the Ethereum dip. It's not just the price that looks bullish. On chain, we see that the biggest addresses continue to grow. And this is very, very common that as price tanks in crypto land, the big whales get greedy because it's so obvious that Ethereum is probably the easiest intermediary token to invest in the entire metaverse, right? Because almost every metaverse project has NFTs or some kind of their infrastructure here on Ethereum. So just buying ETH is one of the easiest ways to get exposure to NFTs, smart contracts, DeFi, Ethereum, all of it. And so again, the whales know how to counter trade their emotions and the emotions of the market. And that is the single skill that gets most people totally wrecked, but can also set people up for crazy, crazy gains. If you bought at the bottom of the market, most coins are up 5, 10, 20x from the lows of the market. You just had to be willing and bold enough to buy in when me and some other smart people in the industry were banging the table around those low levels from early June. And we see here again, Will Clemente, in all of his 19 years of wisdom here, was saying, hey, during the last 3 volatility squeezes Bitcoin has undergone, it first faked out to grab liquidity from breakout traders. What that means is the market jumps up above a meaningful price point, and then it makes it look like, hey, we're about to bust out here and go straight to 100K. So everyone starts piling in money above the all-time high. Not only do they do that, but they take out leveraged longs, which means that they're borrowing against their money, which means that if the price moves down just a few percent, everyone starts getting liquidated and it causes a cascade downwards. This is exactly what happens, and the whales love this because as soon as they see the market getting super leveraged, they can dump it down, move the price maybe 1-2%, and all of a sudden they liquidate everyone and the market moves back down, funding resets. Now, this is exactly what happened. It's very short-term bearish, but it doesn't mean that it's bearish long-term. So Will says, is it happening? He first posted this on the 7th. He said, is it happening on the 9th? And he said, narrator, yes, it was here on the 16th. And so you see him following up on his predictions here. So we got a leverage wash. It brought us right back down here to the 60K level. And the hope is that just like this previous move here, we get a down move and then a big up move. We get a down move and then a big up move. Hopefully it's like these last 2 volume squeezes and not the one 3 times ago. So that's the hope. We also have even more metrics, which is the cycle topping or the cycle peak dashboard here, showing that we are only at about 60% towards peak levels. So just more data, more on-chain data showing that it doesn't feel like the cycle's peaked, and looking at short-term crashes as opportunities here during this big cycle while we have an unprecedented macro climate is really important. Now, speaking of the macro climate, it's so bullish that even Mr. Wonderful, a notorious crypto bear, has started to say that there's absolutely no other protection for your cash besides crypto. He's starting to move more and more of his cash into USDC so we can stake it for the yield. And this is something that is a massive mega trend, but we have to be careful because if inflation spirals too far out of control, we're going to get this situation. This is the counterintuitive situation that is really annoying, but this could happen. So this is what we have to be aware of, which is, of course, Pentoshi saying the most hilarious. He's being ironic here. And what he means to say is the tragic end to a bull market would be double-digit inflation and people not understanding why that can be bearish for risk on assets. This is the very thing that people are cheering on at the expense of others, can be the very thing that ends this cycle. So the reason why double-digit inflation would be bad bad is because inflation would then become a crisis. They would need to completely halt money printing and completely halt stimulus, and then they would have to raise rates, and that would bring more value back to the US dollar. Now, in doing that, they would also kill the risk on climate that has sent the stock market into up-only mode since the March 2020 crash. We've seen nothing but bullishness in the mainstream stock markets, nothing but bullishness, almost nothing but bullishness overall in the crypto markets. And so this climate, as it continues within certain parameters, is really, really bullish. But understand, if inflation gets too crazy, they're going to try to slam the brakes on it, and it's going to cause a ripple effect that will even temporarily make risk on assets like crypto crash. But let's take this one step further, because if this situation plays out, then what you'll have wanted to do is take profits methodically throughout the bull market, so you have a nice reserve of cash so that you can jump in and buy the dip when there's some kind of deflationary shock. Because the reality is that once we get deep enough into a deflationary shock, in my opinion, it would trigger an even bigger round of stimulus that would send risk on assets once again higher. I know it's like this game of ping pong, but you need to understand that if inflation gets too high, then we will most likely see adjustments in policy. Those adjustments may be somewhat temporary, but again, you want to have cash on the sidelines, because in volatile markets like this, trading against the cycle is everything. Now, I wanted to take a second here because I had been saying a few weeks ago that the complete freeze in NFT land felt quite bottomy, felt like it was reaching some pretty astronomical lows, and that usually when these things happen and there's total doom and gloom in one part of the industry that has a through line, that has a future, like blue chip NFTs like Bored Ape Yacht Club, well, it starts to feel like an opportunity. Now, I did start talking, I tweeted about this a few times, and wouldn't you know it, out of nowhere, we see a massive rebound of Bored Ape Yacht Club from about the 30 ETH price floor. Now it's up to about 50 ETH price floor. That's a gain of 20 ETH, which is almost $90,000 for the base level assets here. So that's a huge, huge jump. And what we're seeing is that there is new life flooding into NFTs as soon as lower gas costs and just general boredom started to hit the mainstream crypto markets. We saw this massive run up fueled by the return of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then we saw movements in crypto gaming and the altcoins. And then all of a sudden we started to feel like we hit a little bit of a plateau. And that boredom is exactly what drove people into NFTs the first time. And so we're starting to see now the interplay between mainstream crypto and NFTs. And it's really exciting to see that as soon as things start to plateau, even better of a reason to have some profits that you've taken from your various plays in crypto. I know I have a lot of profits from that bottom where I started throwing in a lot of coins in between 30 and 40K. Now all those coins are in huge profits. So I should have cycled even more into NFTs. Thankfully, I already had such a big NFT collection that I'm benefiting tremendously from this. But this is amazing to see. We're seeing Cool Cats up, we're seeing Mutants up, we're seeing a lot of re-energizing of the NFT movement here, and that is super, super exciting to see that you'll have large caps, then altcoins, and NFTs are starting to move like the last link in the chain. Really exciting stuff. Now, speaking of NFTs, it gives me tremendous joy to present to you the first blue chip NFT drop here, presented in partnership with Immutable and Highrise app. Now, I told you that Superfarm's Immutable X Launchpad would have blue chip NFT launches, and this first drop with Highrise sets the tone for the quality of projects that will be coming to this launchpad. As you can see, Highrise Metaverse is home to 13 million users with over 1 million monthly actives, and 70% of which are female, which introduces a huge amount of diversity, over 700,000 new active female users to join the NFT movement. This is a huge injection of new energy, excitement for the NFT industry. Now, as you can see, the Highrise Creature Club has fantastic UI here. You can see that with your creature, you can animate them, pose them, take different images of them, and then you can actually use them in the existing Highrise metaverse. So you can see here, they're cruising around this room, chatting in real time with a bunch of other people in the metaverse. They're also going to have land coming up soon. It's a very, very cool project. It's launching on Superfarm's Immutable X Launchpad, which means zero gas fees, and it's still part of the Ethereum network. Now, if you are a holder of the Superfarm Genesis or EllioTrades NFTs, and this applies to all Superfarm Genesis except for the Jazz, which was a free free giveaway or a really cheap giveaway that was for the Super Farm stakers. Except for the Jazz NFT, every NFT in EllioTrades NFTs, as well as Super Farm Genesis, will be considered here for whitelist access. And if you go to Super Farm's most recent tweet, you go into the Medium article, you can actually sign up for the whitelist right here through this link. Now, if you're not on the whitelist yet, you have two chances you could get in. The first one is you could retweet this tweet here and comment creature with your ETH address. You can see that a lot of people are doing this, creature with their ETH address, and we're gonna select 5 winners to get whitelist access. However, there's also going to be one more opportunity, which is the general whitelist, which anyone can get onto by solving a riddle. That's right, we want you to put in some effort here and build a strong community that believes in the high-rise metaverse. And that's why we're making it a little tricky to get on this whitelist. So be watching today and go check Super Farm's Twitter for that riddle. And if you solve it, you could be entered to win a whitelist spot here. I do believe that the High-Rise Creature Club is setting a very high bar here. I'm very excited about this project, and I'll actually be in their Discord tonight having a live Q&A. So if you want to come have a Q&A with me and the High-Rise team, make sure you hop into their Discord. You can find it on the High-Rise app, Twitter, that's linked in that tweet, and then you can hop right into their Discord. So join the Discord and make sure you're there to chat with me this evening, and good luck to everyone. I hope you guys can find a spot on the whitelist. 99% of people will get this wrong. They'll get short-term FOMO, and they'll ignore the huge and generous opportunities that massive crypto crashes present to market participants. Every time the market gets too greedy, we crash, and the market gets greedy every time we reach all-time highs. So just know it's almost guaranteed at this point that the market will wash out as soon as we get towards those highs, until of course people maybe get too bearish and then we rocket up. It's a game of emotions. You're playing against yourself, and 99% of people will fail at playing that game. But if you learn to fight against your FOMO and control your fear, then you will most likely be able to act by taking profits towards the top and buying in heavy when we crash. Those are the ways that you can absolutely crush this market. Most people fail every time to escape the control from these powerful emotions of greed and fear. But if you're able to, you will absolutely be a top performer here in crypto land. With that said, I hope you guys are excited for this rebirth of NFT mania, which was so generous to us over the summer. Make sure you go try to get on those whitelists, as High-Rise is going to be a very cool project and one of many opportunities that are absolutely phenomenal coming to the Super Farm NFT Launchpad on Immutable X. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Smash that like button if you did. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at EllioTrades. We're about to hit 500,000 there, so I'll be doing a very special giveaway there as well for the 500K. Make sure you're following so you can be a part of that. As always, I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.